Hi, and welcome to this edition of Fresh Hope for Mental Health. Our mission here at Fresh Hope for Mental Health is to empower you to live well in spite of your mental health challenge by sharing insights through interviews, practical tools for living well, encouragement, and courage for overcoming all from a Christian perspective. And now, here's your host, Pastor Brad Hoefs.
Hello, my friend, and welcome to this edition of Fresh Hope for Mental Health. I'm Brad Hoefs, your host. Our purpose here on Fresh Hope for Mental Health is to empower you to live a faith-filled, rich, and full life in spite of having a mental health diagnosis. Well, today it's just you and me, my friend, and I'd like to talk about what to do when we have those moments where we just feel like we're broken. Kind of like we're stuck. We just can't go on. And I think those times happen to all of us to varying degrees when we're frustrated and we just want to give up and we just want to say, I'm done with this. And yet it's the time where we really need to push through and go through it. It's also the time where if we can get through it and go through it, our confidence gets built up in our character and our perseverance and all of those things. So I want to talk to you about what to remember when you're feeling that way, when you're feeling broken, if you will. Now, I'm going to take 6 things from a website called Life Hack, and I'm going to kind of personalize them or put them through the Christian filter, if you will. But there's 6 things, and I may add a 7th one here as we go through this. But the first thing is tell your story to someone or even to yourself. This is what to do when you remember what to remember when you're feeling broken, things you can do. Because see, the more you tell your story, the less pain it will cause you. And you begin to realize that the story is in the past and not the present, and it can't hurt you in the present. It's part of processing pain, especially if you've had trauma, for instance. But the best way to process difficulties, the best way is to tell it, to tell what happened, or tell how you're feeling. It's extremely important. One of the lies that Satan tells us is that if we just keep it to ourselves, nobody will know. Another lie is just pull up your bootstraps and go on. Suck it up, buttercup. You can do this. And the reality is that pain's there, those difficulties are there, and we have to deal with them, or they start dealing with us. So it's so important to purge them, to talk about them, to tell them. The second thing is to take great care of your body. Otherwise, it'll blame you afterwards. You know, sometimes I'm very guilty of eating my way through stress. I tend to just want to eat, and my eating can really get out of control when it's good stress or bad stress, either way. And my body always blames me afterwards because I have this residue of going through this period of either feeling broken or this just feeling busy, stressed. And so I'm working at learning how to be stressed and going through difficult times and eating properly. So take good care of your body. The third thing is to give yourself the chance to unplug for a period of time. You'll feel much more refreshed after that, whether it's a day, it's days, or a week, or every evening for a month where you just say, I'm not doing anything. That's a good thing for us to do. Sometimes I just have to take an afternoon, and one of my favorite places to walk through is Hobby Lobby. I don't know why, but it just helps my brain engage in creativity as opposed to thinking about, I got to do this, I got to do that, I got to get this done, that task. Oh boy, No, sometimes I just walk through and I daydream. And I just let my mind refresh itself with creative thinking, creative thoughts. Oh, I'd like to do this someday, or that's interesting, or whatever it might be. But if you can unplug in whatever way that works for you, you'll feel much more refreshed after that. Maybe it's going to the spa. Maybe it's going to the gym. Maybe it's taking a long walk around a lake. Maybe it's playing with your dog, or maybe it's baking, or maybe it's painting. But you need to unplug, especially when you're feeling broken and frustrated, like you can't go on, or you just can't make yourself go to the next thing, so to speak. Fourthly, Lifehack says, cry as long as you want. Scientists say some people who cry are mentally stronger, and you'll become stronger. And certainly we know that crying releases hormones. I know that's true for women. I suspect the same thing is true for men. And it's so important to go ahead and cry. Now, this one I'm going to change up a little bit. I'm going to say, cry out to the Lord as long as necessary. Cry tears to him. There are times where prayers don't have words. They just have tears. And that's okay. It's okay. And the Lord hears those. It says that he saves our tears, that those tears are actually liquid prayers. They're liquid petitions to him. And you can cry out to him as long as you need to. Cry out to him through a lament. The book of Lamentations is full of laments. That's why it's called Lamentations. The book of Psalms, there's many, many, many Psalms. I believe it's probably close to the majority of them. I'm not sure I could say that for sure, but many Psalms are laments, where David is pouring out his heart and saying, God, where are you? Why have you let my enemies succeed? Etc., etc. And then, after he cries out, he closes his lament with, and while I wait on you, God, I will trust in you. I know you're here. The Bible tells us to deal with our emotions and our feelings by crying them out to the Lord. And then, instead of just letting our brain stay there and ruminating more and more over that, the Bible tells us to, so to speak, then put our hope and trust in God and declare that to him. And you might have to do that many times in one day. It may go on for days. It may go on for weeks. It may even go on for months. And yeah, I bet sometimes for some, it's gone on for years. But it will make you stronger. It will cleanse your heart. It will put your eyes on God if you'll say at the end of your lament, and God, I trust in you. I love you. You are mine. Number 5 is to physically declutter your life. They say less is more, and your brain would be relieved, and your heart will become lighter when you declutter. And this past year, and we're in 2019 at the time of recording this podcast, we relocated our ministry. Oh, let me tell you. We had been in a 25,000 square foot building for 17 years, and we moved into a 4,000 square foot facility. Talk about sizing down and changing and decluttering and the whole bit. And you know what? When we finally have gotten settled in, we're pretty close to being done. I'd say 97% done. And I feel really good about going into that space. It's decluttered. We have what we need, and we need what we have. And it does make my heart feel lighter, and my brain is relieved. The process was no fun, though. But we were forced to declutter our lives. It's a good thing, especially when you're feeling broken and when you're feeling overwhelmed. Number 6, make this time of when you're feeling overwhelmed or feeling broken or feeling stressed out, make it a time or a period of time that you try something that you've wanted to do, would like to do, that's beneficial, but you haven't done it yet. That's a good time to do it, because part of the learning curve in something new and being stretched to grow is really the time that it can take you and swing you out of feeling broken, swing you out of feeling overwhelmed, and all of those kinds of things. So if you're feeling broken, I want you to remember these things. There are things that you can do about those feelings. Also, if you're feeling frustrated or overwhelmed, these work the same way. Tell your story to yourself or to a friend. Take care of your body. Don't cope with what you're going through by harming your body. Thirdly, give yourself the chance to unplug for as long as necessary. Number 4, cry out and lament before the Lord. Number 5, declutter your life. Less is more. Spend this time lightening your heart and relieving your mind by decluttering. And number 6, make good use of this time by trying something that would be a benefit to you that you haven't tried yet. 6 things. The 7th thing I would add to this is know that God's got your back. He's with you. He loves you. He's holding you in the palm of his hand. He hasn't gone anywhere. And he can take this difficult time of feeling broken, your deepest frustrations. He can take the periods of time when we feel overwhelmed, and he can take them and make them work together for your good. That's number 7. And that's the best one, I think. Well, my friend, I hope this has been helpful to you. I think we all spend times when we feel broken, and I think there's times and periods that we all have when we're just overwhelmed with life and there's just too much. So I hope these insights are helpful to you. I'd really like to hear from you. You can email me at pastorbrad@freshhope.us and share your insights, your comments, questions that you might have. And we'd love to connect with you on Facebook or Twitter, and we're on Instagram. You'll find all the info on our website. We also have a YouTube channel and a Vimeo channel and all different ways for you to connect there. All of that information is also at www.freshhope.us and also at freshhopeformentalhealth.com. That's the podcast website. Now, would you do me a favor if you heard this podcast through your iTunes? I'd like you to write an honest comment about it on the iTunes app. Tell us what you thought of it. That helps others find the podcast through iTunes. We have books, we have resources, all kinds of blogs, videos to help you in your mental health recovery, as well as we have groups across the United States. And if not one close by you, we have one online that you can attend. And we also have all of our things being worked into or being translated into Spanish. And some of them are already done, and we actually have an online speaking Spanish group. So tell your friends about the program, pass it along. And remember, when you're feeling broken, when you're feeling frustrated, when you're feeling overwhelmed, God is with you. He is your hope. So until the next time, may He fill you with hope, fresh, new, and daily. I'm Brad Hoefs, and this has been another edition of Fresh Hope for Mental Health.
You've been listening to Fresh Hope for Mental Health. If you have an opportunity, please review, share, and subscribe to the Fresh Hope for Mental Health podcast on iTunes or on the service that you use. We encourage you to share our podcast on social media with your friends and family. Previous podcasts of Fresh Hope for Mental Health can be found at freshhopeformentalhealth.com, iHeartRadio, Stitcher Radio, and iTunes. The Fresh Hope for Mental Health podcast is part of Fresh Hope. Fresh Hope is an international network of Christian mental health peer support groups which empower people to live well in spite of having a mental health diagnosis. For more information about Fresh Hope, go to freshhope.us. Fresh Hope is one of the leading networks of faith-based peer support groups internationally. Our host, Brad Hoefs, is founder and president of Fresh Hope. He is a pastor who is living well in spite of having bipolar disorder. Brad is the author of the book Fresh Hope for Living Well, which is available at Amazon.com. Brad is also a speaker, blogger, hope coach, and mental health advocate. You can find more out about Brad by going to bradhoefs.com. Hoefs is spelled Hoefs. If you or someone you know is interested in attending a Fresh Hope group meeting, go to freshhope.us and click on Find a Group. Not only do we have local groups, but we also offer Fresh Hope groups online also. If you're interested in starting a Fresh Hope group in your community, email us at info@freshhope.us.